it turns out, allegedly, that students at UCT, specifically the Institute of Higher Learning, feel that the white students get preferential grades. So if you're white, your grades are better. And I suppose if you're black, they're not. So currently, Butimana Mela, who's now the Minister of Higher Education, has said he's going to look into this, right? But before we even get there, because, I mean, how do you really investigate something like this, you know? I just want to speak anecdotally about what you may have experienced and what you may have seen, right? So generally what happens is when people get to institutions of higher learning, they kind of group according to race. I don't know why that is, but I noticed this even straight out of high school. I was in KZN. And I noticed that the white people would hang out together, the Indian people would hang out together, the black people would hang out together. Mm-hmm. Likewise, study groups are the same, right? And I mean, it depends on which study group you are a part of, but there are study groups that always have the latest information. They'll tell you what the tutorial answers are, etc. and so on, right? Then when I got older and I went back to study at WITS, like in 2016, I noticed the very same thing again, right? People hanging out according to racial groups. But then also, there are groups that are just generally more progressive. So people that are more serious about their studies and others that are kind of lackadaisical about it, right? And so, again, I've noticed that it can be that some groups have the latest answers while others do not.
True.
Now, is this engineered or is this just happens by coincidence? I don't know. That's what we need to discuss.
Is it not that in those particular groups where you have kids that are very academically driven, they tend to want to stay behind after the lecture and speak to the lecturer and therefore develop relationships with the lecturers? Mm-hmm. So it becomes a lot easier when they come and say, listen, we're about to write exams. I've been looking at the scope. What direction are we taking? Then the lecturer will give them more information. Then they go share with their study group, right? But if student is a cafeteria 100, when it's time and the lecturer says, okay, fine, I'll see you guys next week, you walk out because you got to go to the cafeteria, you don't care. So if you're showing the lecturer that you are interested in your academics, they are more likely to share a lot more information with you than they would share with the rest of the team, I think. I could be wrong.
It also depends what you study, right? So again, in the sciences, so if you're doing like engineering or anything like that, there, I've got to be honest, I've never noticed that kind of grouping because there is just really about aptitude. Mm-hmm. So it'll just be the smart kids roll together,